Welcome everybody to The Candle Enthusiast. I am your host, Shane Carlson. And today we are going live for Smell It Sunday here on my second channel, Aromatically Speaking. If you've made it here, I've done my job. I've tried to get all of my candle followers from my main channel, The Candle Enthusiast, over here to Aromatically Speaking. This is where we go live. This is where we do candle evaluations. This is where you and I have a little chit chat about the candle industry and just aroma in general. Let's get rid of this music. Today, we have something that's very special, at least very special to me. Most of you, I'm sure, are aware, or if not, burn Kringle candles. Kringle Candle is the project, a business created by the son of the founder of Yankee Candle. They're located in Bernardston, Massachusetts. They opened their doors in 2010, and when they did, I was there, and I've been a long-time fan, and anything that has the Kittredge name. Michael Kittredge II being the founder of Yankee Candle, and then Michael Kittredge III, or Mick for short. Anything with the Kittredge name means a lot to me. The name is near and dear to my heart. I grew up with Yankee Candle, but the fine folks at Kringle Candle reached out to me and said, hey, we have 3 new collections coming out, and we'd like to send you some candles, two fragrances from each collection to produce some videos on them. And I'm like, absolutely, anytime. It's always an honor. So a quick shout out to the folks at Kringle Candle for supplying these products. But just so you know, this is not a sponsored video. Today we're going to be doing a haul of these 6 candles. I've opened the box. I took pictures of the candles so we could use them here on the live stream, but I promise you, I have not smelled these candles. I haven't burned them either, but I haven't even smelled them. So I'm going to take them out one by one and give you my reaction, my sensory evaluation, if you will, right on the spot. It's always a little bit more challenging for me to do it on the spot. Which is good because I think you guys like to see my raw reaction. So I'm going to do my best. However, I am going to be producing videos on these candles. I don't know how many videos. I might do 3 videos, 2 and 2. I might do a video for each one, an edited video, because that's really what I told the folks at Kringle that I would do. This is just going to be a haul, an initial reaction of all the candles, and we're going live. We're going live, baby. So, throw out questions, talk amongst yourselves, keep it friendly, and yeah, let's do this. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's do this, because this is always the first step. As I always say, we got to pull you guys up here so I can see the comments, and we'll break out these candles. Bam. Look at that thumbnail. Well, you can't look at it right now. And I'm getting an ad for my own video. All right, let's do this. Candle number 1. Are we ready? Let's do it. I'm going to pull up the picture so you guys can get a close look, because these webcams don't always give you the greatest resolution. The first one is going to be from a collection called Boujee. That's right, Boujee. And the fragrance name is called Fierce and Fabulous. Well, that's for me, that's for sure. Fierce and Fabulous. As you can see on the label here, we have this blue hue on these barn slabs. Very, very nice textural quality. It's very, what's the word? has a nice luster to it. You know, it really shines off light, that being the label. And we have this light copper aluminum lid. This is going to be a 3-wick tumbler. Look at that. A little bit different as far as wick placement on these 3-wick tumblers. Very interesting. Again, I have not burned these. But before we break this open, let's break this down. Boujee. That word. Do we know that? We know that word. From the French word bourgeois. That's right. French in high school. Boujee, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, is kind of like a slang word for a person who lives a luxurious lifestyle, you know, high fashion, into cool things like skateboarding and riding around in limousines and, I don't know, you know, what are those people who jump off of buildings from short distances? They live on the edge. They live on the edge. Edge. Boujee. And I'm going to read what's on the label here. Whether you're on the prowl for a man or a new pair of red-bottomed shoes, you always get what you want. Spice it up with mysterious blackberry, bold nutmeg, and enticing red currant. Well, the descriptors, or at least 3 descriptions, are on the label. The others don't have them. I'm going to try to forget what I just said and give this a sniff. Fierce and fabulous. I could see why they sent this to me. I really can. But in all seriousness, see, it's funny because I would have said black currant or cassis, but on the label it says red currant. So what I initially have detected, not that I don't smell red fruit, but what I initially smell is this dark berry bramble. You know, the darkest, blackest berries. And where else, how you know, darker can you get than black currant, cassis, boysenberry, things like that. And what's interesting is, like if you're a big Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon fan, you like your Napa Cab. Cabernet, on its own, when it's not mixed with its brothers and sisters, on its own, it smells like really, really dark, juicy red fruit, black fruit. And that's what I'm getting. And what's interesting is Mick, or I really shouldn't call Mick, we haven't been acquainted, but Michael Kittredge III, to my knowledge, is a big wine guy. And so am I. So I'm wondering if in any way some of these candles, because I know he's done a wine collection before, I wonder if a wine has any influence, any inspiration on some of these candles. And there's some spice. It's not a big spice. Again, I'm not burning these. These can unlock. When I do my full evaluation videos, I will be doing my aroma prison, where I actually melt the wax and evaluate it in its melted state. But on cold sniff here, I'm not getting a lot of spice, but it is there. And interesting that it's nutmeg, because I always say this. Maybe you say it, I don't know. But to me, out of all of the baking spices in your pantry or spice rack, nutmeg is the one that smells most like like oak barrels. Really nice spice. So when you're shopping for wine and you're looking on the back of the label and the description of the wine says, really nice touch of barrel spice, And you're like, well, what's barrel spice? Well, that's what they're talking about. French oak barrels inherently have really pretty and quite spicy nuances, quite literally like cinnamon, nutmeg, and sometimes more exotic spices. And of course, vanilla. People who talk about Cabernet, more specifically Chardonnays, if we're going to stick with Napa Valley, they'll be talking about butter and vanilla. Well, I'm not getting any butter here. There's nothing savory about this, but there is this sweet, soothing, calming vanilla that is in stark contrast to this really juicy, jammy black fruit or red fruit. I'll meet you halfway, Kringle. And this is really, I don't know why I'm always going to beverages. I was just going to say elderberry, but then as soon as I thought elderberry, I thought about elderberry kombucha. Are you guys hip with the kombucha? Are you drinking the booch? I love it. It's a fermented product. It's a natural probiotic. You can find it at any grocery store. Now, if you're from California, it's like a daily ritual. But elderberry kombucha. So what I mean by that is I'm getting a little bit of this floral, fruity berry note. But there's something to be said about that tanginess. This like an apple cider vinegar. We've had probably sipped on apple cider vinegar if you're a person who's doing that for your digestive system or whatever people use it for. It's not quite palatable, but when you smell it, it has this high tinge. It's really attractive. It's really pretty acidity that's completely different than like citric acid or malic acid or tartaric acid. When you smell the acidity in something like kombucha or excuse me, like apple cider vinegar, it has what we call VA on it, volatile acidity, and it has this quite literally like a vinegar, culinary vinegar. So, and that might for a second turn you off from this, but let's put this all together. We have this juicy fruit. We have, or jammy fruit. Let's go with that word, jammy fruit. We have this soft pillow, this cloud of vanilla. We have a little bit of this baking spice. We have some floral from that elderberry, but there's this tinge of vinegar underneath it all, which brings, we that Cabernet thing, that concept to life. This glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. And if we really want to go red currant, let's just call this Merlot instead of Cabernet. And so you get the barrel spice from the nutmeg. It actually tastes or smells a little bit like oak. The vanilla is a natural, vanillin is a natural compound in French oak barrels. And then we get this vinegar that brings us to the dining room. It brings us into the restaurant setting. So, Boujee, Fierce and Furious. Not Fierce and Furious. That sounds like a ripoff of a movie. Fierce and Fabulous. Is this like a dining experience for those who are too cool for school? Living life with a little bit of extra swagger. I think so. And really, bringing it all, focusing into this candle, my personal impression is this is really pretty. There's nothing here. It's very easy for something like this to just overdo it with the florals. As soon as you overdo it with the musk and the florals, now we're in perfume cologne territory. But keeping that at bay, keeping that at, below the surface just a little bit, and having those other nuances to expand the complexity. Really, to me, this is for me. I I will certainly be burning this one, probably be burning this one first, but let's find out. Let's find out. Because I'm most excited to talk about a candle called Fierce and Fabulous. But it's I think if I had to say one thing and one thing only, really well balanced. We have a lot of things going on, and they're balanced, at least on Cold Sniff. They it's a great, this is mixology. This is why we love Kringle Candle, and this is why I really, fell in love with candles in the first place. The idea that, well, I was with this candle for like 5 minutes, and already I have a sense of place. I'm in this restaurant. I have my wine, right? Maybe I have a salad or something balsamic on the table, right? I'm already in a sense of place, but I'm also it's telling me a story. It's an escape, and it smells really nice. So if you want to live with a little bit extra luxury, I'm giving that one at least my full recommendation. Let's take one quick last look at that. That is called Fierce and Fabulous. And if you squint your eyes, you can read those fragrance notes. Okay, so candle number 2. I'm going to stay within the collections here because I don't want to be bouncing around all over the place. We have a candle called V, as in Victor, Sexy. V Sexy. I don't know what that means. Is that slang too? You guys are going to have to help me out there. V Sexy. Let me read the literature on this label. Slip into something sexy and enjoy the sensual scent of lavender, cream, and vanilla for a night you won't forget. Whoa, boy. Whoa, Nelly. All right. Well, I'm guessing these are being targeted towards women. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's nothing on here that says anything about male or female. But I don't normally say my dog. I'm going to go slip onto something a little more sexy before we watch Star Wars tonight. I just watched the most recent Star Wars last night, so it's on the brain. Let me show you the photo. I showed you the photo. Let's talk about the candle. Lavender, cream, vanilla, huh? V Sexy. Wow, it's amazing how this really reminds me so quickly of something, of a very specific day, something that I did. It was actually a video for my main channel, The Candle Enthusiast. I was trying to recreate a lavender and lemon candle. I had a lavender lemon candle, and I was trying to recreate it in the form of a beverage. So I talked about the candle in the video, but then I went to this restaurant in New Paltz, New York. It's the Parish. It's a great little place, great view on the patio. And I had them bring me a ginger beer. I brought my own ingredients like honey and some dried lavender. I'm trying to think what else I brought. I brought some nutmeg. I actually did a little micro planning of some nutmeg, but I made this iced ginger beer / tea with honey and spice and infused with dry lavender beverage. It was insanely good. I didn't have all the tools to make a real cocktail. There was no booze in it either. But when I'm smelling this, it's really bringing me back to that moment. And it's really because of the authenticity. The lavender, we know the smell of fresh lavender. Side of the road, we pick it, we rub it between our hands, smell your hands. It's beautiful. Or for some of you, it's too much. And for those of you that don't like lavender and you're like, that's just too much. Just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Before you condemn lavender completely, try dried lavender. I don't know. There's many places you can get dried lavender. New Pulse is one of those places. And it's just, when it's concentrated and dried, it smells like candy. It's so sweet. It really smells like those flour candies, those imported flour candies. And then Yankee had a flour candy not too long ago. But the dried lavender, and what's not in the fragrance notes is lemon juice. Whoa, for days. And in my tea or my cocktail, whatever it was that day, I forgot to mention, I put lemon in it. So not picking up lemon. We could say lemon, but this is like definitive lime. Now, I don't mean lime zest either. This is the juice of the lime. Maybe a little bit of the zest, but really we're talking about the juice, the tart factor, that puckering sensation, right? When you have a cocktail with a little bit of lime juice and you feel it pinch right here and right here, that contrast of tart fruitiness, not jammy like the last one, tart fruitiness mixed with this sweet floral. Bam. I mean, we're talking about a beautiful complementing aroma here. And I mean, I feel like I'm cheating, but I gotta, because it really reminds me of that cocktail, but I would not be bashful at all to say something like white tea. Oh, you know what? White tea works, but if we said Earl Grey, your Earl Grey has bergamot in it, right? Bergamot, part of the citrus family. So maybe that makes a little bit more sense. A black tea, Earl Grey is black tea that's infused with bergamot. So a little bit of this tea quality. I'm going to get to that vanilla in a second. Yeah. This vanilla is a very specific kind of, it does say vanilla, right? It does say vanilla, but it doesn't say doesn't have an adjective before it. This is a very specific kind of vanilla to me. And you guys know I always talk about candies. Candy and soda pop, things like that, breakfast cereal, it's attached to our memories, our nostalgia. And since we make those associations so early in life, I find, at least for me, that it's really great to communicate aroma and flavor profile when you talk in terms of things from our childhood. This vanilla is definitively like vanilla Tootsie Rolls. You know what I'm talking about. Some of you at least know what I'm talking about. The blue wrapper, the creamy vanilla Tootsie Roll. I'm not saying this doesn't smell like vanilla. Of course it smells like vanilla, but if you're trying to think of like, well, vanilla extract, does this smell like a Bath and Body product, kind of vanilla? No, this has got like this sweet candy type of vanilla. It's really quite nice, and I really don't know how else to add to that other than just saying, just a highly confectioned candy that's flavored with vanilla flavoring. And there's a wooden bass note here. There's something. Is that sandalwood? There's a little bit of this luxurious feel. And I'm purposely not saying cologne and perfume, even though I just did say them. I don't want you to think cologne and perfume, but there's something woody here. a musky note that is taking me to a luxurious place. Even though I just said candy, that vanilla, and let's call it a sandalwood. I'm afraid to say that, but some kind of wood base note. Those two components just, remind me of like flipping through an interior design magazine, beautiful white furniture and sun bleached, kind of like these walls, the sun bleached, grayish textured floorboards, meaning I smell that wooden furniture, and that citrus is like the maybe a little bit of the polish, the furniture polish that it's used to clean that wood. Or maybe someone is making a lavender cocktail on a guardian or a side table, whipping that up together. Yes, I don't know if it makes me feel V-sexy, because I don't know what V-sexy is, but I can see how this could set the stage for a romantic evening, in all seriousness. And because it has this feeling of like, we're living good. Where the fierce and fabulous brought me to the restaurant, this is definitely bringing me inside, a really, beautiful, well kept, expensive furniture kind of apartment. This is all subjective, but I can see clearly by both of these candles why they fall into this collection of Boujee. So V-Sexy by Kringle Candle. If you like your lavender, if you and really there's floral notes in both of these, and I don't think that anyone out there who has issues with florals wouldn't necessarily have problems with these, because these are not springtime, you kill my sinuses kind of florals. Again, keeping these more powerful notes to a minimum. I'm sorry, I went back to V-Sexy. I want to throw in something in the realm of, let's say, high quality to keep this bougie, like suntan lotion. And that's usually some form of like essential oils, right? And coconut. Yeah, there was a little bit of this like coconut spice. You know how sometimes coconut can have a little bit of spiciness to it. Like not in baking goods, but like in Bath and Body products. And that's interesting because now it's that's kind of bringing me to the beach. Maybe this dwelling, this house, is by the beach. Two great candles by Kringle. Great way to start, but let's keep going, shall we? We're going to move on to the next collection. Let me just check in with you guys real quick. How we all doing? Oh, we have Mick Kittredge in the house. Oh God, that's so cool. Yeah, and sorry, I'm kind of flustered at the moment, Mick. But great point. I wanted to remember to tell you that today is the last day that there's a site-wide 50% off at KringleCandle.com. The link is in the description, but you know KringleCandle.com. Swing on over and pick up your favorite treats for around the year. I've done it already. I get my Christmas and autumn shopping done a little bit early. Woo! I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you what we're looking at here. Farmhouse, another collection, cinnamon, sugar, no fragrance notes this time, but look at that. I love this. Look at the texture of the label. It's that sun-bleached white wood on the barn, kind of reminiscent if you've ever been to Kringle Candle, and cinnamon sugar. I think I can handle cinnamon sugar. Cinnamon sugar was always my favorite treat when I would pretend to be sick and stay home from school. My mother would make me cinnamon toast bread. But there's more going on here. Like this is sweet. This smells like cinnamon. But let's take it apart. And that quick sniff, I already have enough to talk about. When you smell ground cinnamon, right? We're talking like a nice, pungent, but not like super spicy. Not like spicy, like kind of spicy. But ground cinnamon, and it just has that very fine, dusty quality to it. A nice Saigon cinnamon, for example, freshly ground cinnamon. Definitely getting that. There's a little tickle on my nose when I'm smelling this, but there is a sweetness that can't be denied. Like big chunks of granulated cane sugar. And with that cane sugar, and I was going to say something like wood here. I'll get to some kind of wooden component in a second, but let's try to tie the sugar and the wood together. Can you see where I'm going? Maple sugar. Have we not had maple sugar? If we haven't, you better. You ought to. I use it in the kitchen all the time. A lot of you folks know that I'm a big fan of Crown Maple out of New York State. And there's that wonderful smell of like bourbon barrel aged maple syrup that has been reduced into its granulated form of maple sugar. But I'm going there because there is this bourbon barrel aspect to it. We can associate that with this farmhouse, the actual structure of this farmhouse. And it's amazing how sweetness and cinnamon work, the associations, because I'm not smelling apple in here. Maybe there's something like apple wood in there, but that doesn't really necessarily smell like apple. But the association for me of this cinnamon sugar is so strong that my mind is almost telling me that I'm smelling apple. And you know what that's bringing me to? Apple cider donuts. In fact, it has to be my favorite Kringle candle is their apple cider donuts. This was gifted to me last time I was in a Kringle. And Mick, if you're still here, please thank the staff for that. Or if I just got them in trouble, please forgive them. I told them that was my favorite scent, and I grew up in apple country. And this has this, bag, that brown paper bag of that cinnamon or apple cider cinnamon apple cider donut with the inclusion of cinnamon sugar aroma. And it's gorgeous. And there really is something. And this is not a lie. This is not me milking it. But this rustic wood, where the last one was more of a luxurious wood smell, this is more of a rustic wood aroma. And this is, again, not milking it, but I really... I just have those memories. Maybe you have them too, of walking into, whether it be a sugar house, a sugar shack, or an apple farm barn during the autumn season. And that smell of it being cold, the vegetation, the foliage decaying all around us, the sweet treats, everything a little bit spicy in the air, with all those pies and baked goods, and of course the donuts. But this wood brings me actually inside this barn. So cinnamon sugar, an understatement of a name if you ask me. But then again, it's in a collection called Farmhouse. So definitely paints the portrait for me. And man, I'm like already, I'm in the mood for autumn. Bring on autumn phase 1. Autumn has 3 phases. Remind me to tell you about that sometime. So cinnamon sugar, that one I really was expecting to be quite straightforward, but not quite. Not quite. A nice little pleasant surprise. And I'm not talking about intensity here, which may be a problem, but on cold sniff, all of these are of Kringle standards here. Like Kringle candles are pretty intense, especially when you start getting into the bigger and bigger size. And these have 3 wicks and a very, very large radius. So they're going to output, they're going to carry. I don't use that word throw. I don't use it. Mick, is Mick in the house? Mick, if you're here, please answer this question for the folks. Do you use the word throw? It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and be honest. If you're still in the house, let me know if you use that word throw, because how can you wrap up throw with carry, dynamic range of, there's cinnamon, but there's also sugar. So the cinnamon can be stronger than the cinnamon. How far these travel, how intense they are when you're standing next to them, and also all of the hundreds of variables that are in your burning space. I'll be so happy if Mick answers that question. And Stephanie Hall, thank you so much for the super chat. $4.99. Good to see you, and these candles sound amazing. Luckily, they are quite amazing so far. Not that I expect any less from Kringle. And I didn't show you that top, but we have that hammered copper top that I definitely don't want to ignore. And Mick uses the word throw. Good for you, Mick. Good for you. Always trying to win that argument, and I never do. Whoa. I just popped the lid on this by accident, like that. And Little League came to mind. Little League. Watermelon and lime. All right, let's dig in. Let's show you what this looks like. This is going to be another of the Farmhouse Collection, watermelon and lime. And we have the same aesthetic. We have that, again, that painted, what do we call that? The painted white, but it's rain washed, it's battered and tattered from the precipitation. It looks like a farm, a barn sitting out on the countryside in New England with that hammered copper aluminum lid. One more time. Let's see if we get that in focus. Come on, that's pretty. That's pretty stuff. That's pretty stuff. And look at these wicks. I don't know if you can get a focus on this. Yeah, it's not going to happen, the focus. Oh, there we go. Maybe you can see a little bit of that the little red and green spirals down the cotton wicks here. I would love to take a course in wicks. Just learn as much as I can about wicks. Wow. Okay. It's amazing that I just talked about intensity, because so far, these were like medium plus to high intensity. But this one, I don't know what is going on, but it's a massive, powerful aroma from the get-go. Okay, you're going to want to hear this one, because this is my take, my initial take. I told you this reminded me of Little League. The reason there, and I use this description a lot. I'm sorry if I repeat myself for you viewers who tune in all the time, but my favorite treat in Little League was Italian ice. If we know, like, is it Rita's, the Italian ice candle dessert company? You know, the frozen treats with the sugar and the beautiful citric acid, and it's tart and it's sweet, and you scrape it with the wooden spoon. And then it melts a little bit, and then you get that beautiful melted creamy fruity goodness in the cup underneath. This reminds me of that a lemon Italian ice, but of course this is lime, and that is it's perfectly accurate, because there is a definitive lime zest, like really tart key lime coming through, but that citrus and this sweetness, and something about this that reminds me of it feels cold when you smell it. I go right to dessert. And if we want to take this in a little bit more of a foodie direction, if we've ever had a Sicilian granita. Sicilian granita is a shaved ice dessert treat. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's like a snow cone, only you're using shaved ice and you're not using syrup. You're just using a reduction of, any fruits of your choice. But imagine like a lime melon. We'll get to that watermelon in a second. A lime melon. I forgot what else I was going to say. Lime melon. I don't know. A concentrated syrup that would go onto this frozen dessert. Cucumber skins. A little bit, just a little bit of, I shouldn't say cucumber skins. Let's say this, cucumber meat, but a little bit of the cucumber skin. Let's go meet halfway and say like cucumber water. When I said melon, there is this really refreshing cucumber quality, almost like when we get to the bottom of our watermelon and you get that whiter part of the meat on the watermelon. Your parents say don't eat it, but it tastes really good because it's not as sweet. It actually has a little bit more tartness to it, and it's actually pretty flavorful. That aroma, that flavor is so refreshing, is it not? So authentic fruit all the way in the melon, in the citrus. But I have to say this, and this works because if we're talking about like a dessert treat, we have to talk about candy. This has, although it does smell like watermelon, there's this beautiful reminder of watermelon now and later candies. Not as tart and artificial as something like Jolly Rancher, but again, maybe that's what was reminding me of Little League, because yet another thing that I would commonly get when I was in Little League or watching my brothers play in Little League, the now and later candies. So there is a candy side to this. So candy, sweet, it's tart, it's authentic, which is the most important thing. But the bottom line is refreshing. I dare anyone to smell this and say, I'm not thirsty. Speaking of that, let me take a sip. A candle like this, I don't know if Jordan's in the house, but Jordan asked me a question: what's a great summertime, springtime candle to be burning? Or he's asking what I would burn. And this is something I would burn. To me, springtime, summertime, I spend most of my time burning things that are refreshing. Something that's like a cocktail, something that reminds you of being by the poolside, having that cold drink in your hand. This one will certainly get the job done. So watermelon and lime. a part of the Farmhouse Collection, yet to be released by Kringle Candle. When are the release dates of these candles? Well, I do not know. I do not know. Hopefully we'll find out soon. I know Mick has posted a few little sneak peeks on his Instagram and social media and such. And so I would imagine soon. Summer? That's my guess. Got to keep this going. How are you guys doing? And Eric says those Rita's lines for free water ice on first day of spring will be prime virus spreading places. Yes, a little bit of topical information. If you're watching this years in the future, if you're watching this later in time, I guess it would be the future. Beautiful label. Look at this. All right, well, you can't look at it. I have to show it to you. This is going to be the Zen Collection. And you know what? I need a little bit of Zen in my life. I'm kind of kidding and I'm kind of not. I recently said to myself, I really need to learn how to relax and gauge my stress levels a little bit better than I do. And so maybe this is coming at just the right time. We have this beautiful kind of peony pink or let's say, pink blossom label. And the texture, it fooled me. I thought it had a texture. It doesn't. It looks very realistic, the texture. The texture looks like like a really, like a cold press piece of paper, which makes sense because the artwork that's on the candle looks like it's done in some kind of India ink style. Maybe, yeah, I was going to say graphite. No, definitely not graphite. Definitely an India ink style artwork on this pink cold press paper. There's a lot of thought put into that. And this candle called Flower, my favorite character from Bambi. The character that always seems to get overlooked, got overshadowed by Thumper. You know Flower is. Flower's the skunk in Bambi. Adorable. Anyway, let's dive into this candle. Well, before we do that, we have this matte black. Let's see if we can get, there we go. This matte black aluminum lid. So all three different lids on these. And this one is a little bit thinner too. Kind of makes it look like when it's on here that it's going to be, this matte black could appear to be like painted black wood with like a rubber gasket. That kind of pop off. Here we go. All right. Very season appropriate. I mean, spring all the way here. Man, this is not going to be an easy one to do from the top of my head, but let me do the best I can. So what is that real smell that reminds us of the spring? A lot of candle companies will put out candles called tulip or tulips, or they'll have tulip in the fragrance notes. Well, tulips do have an aromatic, but that's really a visual cue. When we think of tulips, we think of that spring smell. So mentally, yeah, we can think tulips here, but what I'm really getting is dandelion. Let's start with that. There's a whole lot more going on, but we've all done it. We've popped the head off the dandelion. We, stuck the finger down the stem of the dandelion, released that dandelion milk, created those curls. That smell of the inside of the dandelion stem, or even the blossom itself. There's this beautiful smell that is absolutely synonymous, again, at least for me, with springtime. You have meadows of these dandelions growing all over the place when they sprout. And, when that spring wind comes in, it just carries that aroma. So dandelion is, obviously very floral. It has a thick, rich aroma to it, but we can't forget about the green qualities that it has. It's hard because we think dandelion, we think yellow, but dandelion smells very green. It has that chlorophyll rich aromatic to it, and that's coming through. We walk into that florist. I use this one all of the time, but I mean, it's just so perfect when you walk into the florist shop and they're just trimming all of those rose stems and snip, 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 and you just imagine the liquids, the juices from these stems that they're exuding all over the place. It's on their hands, it's on the counter. Everything smells like those rose stems. So musky for sure would definitely have like a rose musk, but it's not this muskiness that's going to parallel something like leather. The two, to me, the biggest forms of musk that I see, if I wanted to categorize them, I can make a whole bunch of categories, but usually it's the powdery musk. For me, it's the floral, or more specific, the rose musk, and the leather muskiness. The scent of a brand new car, or the scent of a brand new pair of leather boots or shoes. Open up that box when you get that brand new pair, and that rawhide smell. So usually a lot of rose, peony, geranium, floral candles have this rich, thick, heavy, musky, leathery muskiness going on. And to me, this is more of a fruity rose petal muskiness. Hyacinth flower. Hyacinth and stargazer lily. Well, stargazer lily, we could say lily of the valley, whatever one you have a better association with. I think either descriptor works. Really pungent flowers now. We're talking those flowers that you can smell from miles away. But that's not to say that this is, a sinus killer. This is like we crushed up some fresh florals in this little tumbler. Green grass and clover. Some spicy greens. You take that head of lettuce, iceberg lettuce, you slice it in half. You take out the heart, the yellow part of that iceberg lettuce. Smell that. It's bitter tasting. Well, it smells really pretty. It smells or it tastes kind of like arugula or an endive. If you ever had the endive salad or anything cooked with little endives, they look like little, well, I'm sure you know what they are, but they're part of this spicy green family. And so we're getting a little bit of that spicy green quality. And yeah, there's a soft blossom, visceral feeling that I'm having when I smell this. Meaning when I smell this, it's just, I feel like I have a macro camera lens looking at a super close up, an extreme close up is the correct way to say that, of a petal of a flower, whether that be something like anything from peony to rose, but I didn't say gardenia yet, and that's just another one of those florals that are so pungently strong. But, you know, again, that's not to say that this is overwhelming. So, two things. If you're looking for something to escape to, I mean, it is springtime, but let's say it's not quite spring in your area yet, or if, you know, if in the heart of winter, you know, you're looking to escape to spring, like that's your happy place emotionally. That's where you want to go. If you know, have these wonderful associations of being in nurseries, greenhouses, smelling the fresh florals. If you go to flower shows like Philly Candleman, you go in all of these, you know, tropical greenhouses with orchids and all that stuff. If that is your thing, this is really going to speak to you. Or, again, just an authentic spring smell. And it's a little bit, you know, it's fruity in the sense that it's a fruity floral. I don't think there's any fruit in here, but it's a great mixture of a balance of fruity, pungent florals and some that really strong green, that green, you know, green grass, green clover, chlorophyll-rich aromas. So Flowers by Kringle Candle, a part of the Zen Collection. There it is. Beautiful candle for Easter, but will it be available for Easter? Well, I don't know. Don't know. We got one more candle to talk about, and how are we doing on time here? We might open this up to a quick Q&A. Before I get to this last candle, I just want to point out that on my live streams, I'm going to start doing a segment where we do Q&As, but it's hard to take direct questions from the chat because there's a good like 20 seconds from when you type something or when you see something and when I'm actually saying it. So it's kind of hard to do that, but the best way to do this is go over to Facebook and request to join the Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group. I say this all the time, but I have to say it because I don't ever want to take credit for it. This has been created by the fans. It's going on 3 years old. The moderators, the administrators of this group, super passionate, super friendly people. We've all become great friends. And you'll see that every time I go live, I'm going to start posting something that looks just like this right here. It's going to have the thumbnail of the video, and I'm asking for questions. And you can see, at least here, let me refresh the page. We have 9 questions. That's pretty good. That's pretty good because I just posted that right before I went live. But let's get to this last candle before we do that. And a quick plug, if anyone's wondering if this is the Candle Enthusiast Halloween t-shirt, this is my t-shirt. It's from 2019, but it's still available at spreadshirt.com/the Candle Enthusiast. All of those links are going to be found in the description below. But this mug is sold out. You can't get that any longer. The Mary Tyler Moore inspired mug. Random, I know. The last candle is called Great Luck. These are all 14.5 ounces, by the way. 3 ounces, we talked about that. And from the looks of it, it's it looks like at least the majority, or yeah, let's say the majority is soy wax, although it does not say. It's, I'm sure, a proprietary soy blend. But similar aesthetic that we saw last time. We have this, I bumped the color in this picture a little bit, so it looks a little bit more of like a mustardy yellow, but it's actually more of this kind of creamy peach color. And I'll show you when I switch out of here in a second, but we see these, are they catfish swimming in the lake, the stream. Yeah, catfish. Am I right about that? And do catfish symbolize good luck? I'm not sure. But again, I got to get into this Zen thing. So maybe I'll be discovering all this soon. Again, we have the matte black. I should point it down here. The matte black aluminum lid. And let me show you the color. See, that's a better representation. That might even look a little bit salmon colored to you, but under closer inspection, it really is this orange, kind of like a peaches and cream color label. Great luck. Who doesn't need great luck? Here we go. Oh, man. It's so much easier when you do these evaluations and you don't have to struggle to figure out things that you smell. Just that one whiff. I mean, I'm already overloaded with so many things to say. This was the biggest problem when I was evaluating wines, is like you can never write as fast as you're thinking. So you have to have that, photographic memory. So there's orange in here. To keep it simple, and we'll expand, there's orange in here in several ways. There's the zest, there's the juice, and there's like an orange blossom in here too. We're going into that territory once again of this soft white blossom on the fruity side. And if you want to get dorky about it, most whenever you hear neroli, another flower, it's in the orange blossom family. It's actually might even be the same thing. Neroli or orange blossom, when we find this in Bath and Body products, it's actually something called labdanum. That's right. So if you ever see that word, essential oils, in your essential oil shop, labdanum, it's a fragrance oil or an essential oil. It can be both. That really mimics beautifully the citrus and floral nature of something like neroli or orange blossom without the spiciness. And this doesn't have spiciness, or if it does, it's really being combated quite nicely by, once again, this creamy sweetness. I mean, it's so hard for me not to want to say orange creamsicle here. Remember the orange creamsicle lifesavers. Remember those? And this is one I use all the time. Orange Julius, for those of you who were around in the 80s in the shopping malls. But it's funny, as soon as I said no spiciness, there is a spiciness here. But it's hard for me to say if this is kind of like a peppercorn spice, or even a floral spice. Six candles is a lot to do in one shot, folks. Okay, so let me step aside from that for a minute. There is the creaminess that I said from like something like an orange creamsicle. But there's another kind of creaminess. Maybe creaminess is not the right adjective to use for this, but think of like a neutral scented hand lotion. A nice, soft, moisturizing hand lotion. Maybe a little bit of hibiscus in there. But why I'm saying neutral is because it's not, I don't want you to think about the things that hand lotions are scented with, but the actual base of the lotion itself. There is this lotion, your mind starts thinking, when we think of lotions, I don't know about you, but I start thinking of spas, restrooms, hot tubs, hotels, nicer hotels, not some of the places I stay. But spa definitely works, right? With the lotion. So I said I was going to expand on the orange. The spice here, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of peppercorn, but I think the majority of the spice is coming from the orange zest. And if we had to classify the citrus fruit, I'm going to say mandarin orange. This, again, a lot of people always tell me, it's like, why do you always say the different, like, you point out tangerine, clementine, kumquat, navel orange, and something like mandarin. They all smell the same. They don't. If the next time you're at the grocery store, go to your citrus section. Just don't ruin the fruit and don't get your germs all over it. Maybe don't do this now. When this whole situation with this universal virus goes away, maybe you can get back to doing this. But something I always do is just take my fingernail and scratch the zest just a tiny bit on the citrus fruit, and that'll exude the oils from the zest. And you can really smell the difference between something like a tangerine, a navel orange, and what I get on this, the mandarin orange. A little bit musky, it could be from that floral, that orange blossom thing. Would not be surprised if there is a wooden base note to this candle as well. That's refreshing. I'm trying to think. For me, for Zen purposes, great luck or flower. This is Zen. I mean, this is Zen in that, yeah, if you're just that outdoors person. I mean, I'm an outdoors person, but not really. I like going outside, but I'm really an indoors person. So if you're looking for the outdoors Zen experience, especially if you're in love with the springtime, we're going to want to go with that flower. I've been saying flowers. I apologize. It's simply, it's singular, flower. I think this is a safe bet if you love that definitive, quintessential springtime smell. But if you're more of that, if you think of relaxation and Zen, maybe if you're more of a yoga person, do yoga people stay inside? I don't mean to say yoga people. Like, I'm not putting down the yoga people. I just don't practice yoga. But indoors, a little bit of this. I can see the Asian influences here. I mean, how could you not? The orange blossom, the mandarin orange, a little bit of this wooden muskiness that could be this floral muskiness or both, with that spa-like ocean creaminess. That's it, folks. Let me show you a picture of that last candle one more time. That is the Great Luck Candle by KRINGLE Candle from the Zen Collection. To be determined when these will be released, unless Mick told you guys in the chat area while I've been speaking. But I just want to reach out one more time and make sure that I'm thanking all of the folks at KRINGLE. I want to give a big shout out to Mick, of course, Carolyn, and Alexander for the hospitality that they've shown me, and also the entire staff. Every time I go to KRINGLE Candle, the whole campus, the staff is incredibly nice people. It really does have that true family feel, for good reason. A lot of the folks who work at KRINGLE Candle actually migrated from the old days, from the Yankee Candle Village, because KRINGLE and Yankee Candle Village, we're only talking about, a handful of miles apart. But wonderful staff. They know their products, and I can't say anything. I can't say too much good stuff about Kringle Candle and their products and how much I love them. And just to plug them one more time, if you're watching this today, this is the last day of their site-wide 50% off. No coupon, promo code necessary. Just go on their site, see what they have left. Things are selling out quick. Make sure you fill up your shopping cart and think about shopping for the future as far as the seasons ahead. And that's gonna be at KringleCandle.com. And if you're looking for more Kringle content, I have a bunch of tours, modest tours that I've done at Kringle Candle. I'm hoping to do a much more in-depth tour of the facility. So if you plan on visiting, you'll know all the things that they have to offer, all of the fun that you can have. Or if you're in a part of the world and that you don't think you'll ever be able to visit Kringle Candle, that's my great joy, to help share my experience. These experiences that you can't have, get them on video so you can watch them in the comfort of your own home. And with that said, I have several projects, I should say one project that's in the works about Michael Kittredge, Sr., or the second. If by chance Mick is still watching, or if the folks at Kringle are watching, I just want to show you this. This candle, I think you guys posted on Instagram a couple days ago, if anyone had these older labels before they were changed. Well, I have a bunch, and this one is, I have a lot of special Kringle candles in my collection, but this to me is just about as special as it gets. This was... well, I shouldn't say that. It was celebrating the 250-year anniversary of Bernardston, Massachusetts, again, where Kringle Candle is, the campus. And it's released in 2012. Older label. We're not going to get a sharp focus on there, but this is a single wick. How many ounces? Single wick tumbler. They don't make them like this anymore. I don't see the ounces, but the important thing to point out is what's on there on the back. It's a bit smudged, it's a bit aged, but that's Michael Kittredge II, or Michael Kittredge Sr., Mick's father's signature on this candle. They signed these right at the store on the campus back in 2011, which was, if you look at that date, this is really only about a year and a half after Kringle Candle opened their doors. And Michael Kittredge is a very he was a profound influence on me in my life, and a part of the reason why I do this is because I tapped into what I think Michael Kittredge was really trying to do with Yankee Candle way back in the day, which is to not necessarily create home fragrance, but to really find ways to link memory, nostalgia, and scented candles together. We've all smelled candles and then we've said, oh man, these smell pretty. Right? We smell air sprays, car freshener. We smell wonderful things that make our house or car or bathroom smell pretty. But what really got me, what bit me about the candle industry and Yankee Candle way back in the day is that every jar was a memory. Every jar was a story. Every jar had the ability to whisk you away and help you remember those memories that you thought were gone. I can't tell you how many times I've smelled a Kringle candle or a Yankee Candle and said to myself, wow, a memory would just pop into my head, and I'd say, I thought that memory was gone. I don't think if I just smelled this candle, I don't think I would ever have remembered that memory that just popped up in my head. So yes, I do believe candles and aroma can be therapeutic in that way and help us reflect and find those special nuggets, those memories lost in the recesses of our brains. And it's a very, very special thing when it happens. I think that's why a lot of us candle enthusiasts, you guys included, that I think that's why burning candles can be quite emotional. And it sounds, you say that to someone who doesn't burn candles, and they're like, they question that, like, well, how can a scented candle be emotional? But you smell a candle that brings you back to being 4 years old on a very special day in your life. It's hard not to get emotional. So I want to read a couple of these questions, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Lauren Marie says, we usually go to Kringle on Easter weekend, but now everything is up in the air. What is going on? What is going on? I don't have all this time, Lauren, to be watching the news. I'm just as lost as you are. I don't know what's going on. Are things getting better? Are things getting worse? It's a scary thing. It is a scary thing. I don't mean to make a joke out of it. But Alexander, €4 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. We're gonna help find that candle for you. You know what? I can't. Let's use this as a megaphone. Alex here, who just chipped in €4 for a super chat, has reached out to me very kindly, very politely, and told me that he found my video on Witch City Wicks Sleepy Hollow candle. And for those of you who are big Witch City Wicks fans, you'll know that Sleepy Hollow is a part of our Halloween collection, and they're only available during Halloween. And in the past 4 years, they sell out almost immediately. So it's very hard to get these candles. And even if you get one, it's just that. You can get one or one or two. So if anyone out there has a spare Sleepy Hollow candle, reach out to me personally at candleenthusiast@yahoo.com. Let me know. And if you have one that you'd like to trade or sell, I'll put you in contact with Alexander, because this poor guy, man, wants this candle, and it breaks my heart, but there's nothing I can do. How about a live stream together and a factory tour? Mick, I would absolutely adore that opportunity to do that. Those of you who are watching this later, when I'm saying Mick, I'm literally talking about, we have Mike Kittredge, CEO and President of KRINGLE CANDLE, in the chat room. I would love to do that, Mick, anytime. At a drop of a dime, let me know. I'll come up. I would love to do an edited video. I think an edited video, with so many more possibilities. We could cover a lot more stuff in a short period of time. But that doesn't mean we can't also do a live. So you name the date, and I'll be there. I was going to come up. I was invited to come up for Santa arriving at KRINGLE CANDLE this past holiday season, and the opening of the toy store, which I still haven't seen yet. And I was in production of a feature film in November, and I just could not. I could not make it happen, and it was upsetting. But hopefully, we can pick up the pieces and work together. And speaking of that, I'm sure you guys have been talking about KRINGLE CANDLE and Country Candle as far as Halloween goes. But we have a Country Candle Sleepy Hollow right here. I have a bunch of KRINGLE candles here just in case I wanted to show. And I guess I should show this. Why not? As long as we're talking about Mick's dad, we have a Yankee Candle unlit Cannikin. These things go for enormous money on eBay. They usually come from the, kind of Holyoke, South Deerfield, Greenfield regions, people who actually purchase these, I believe, at the Village. I don't know if these were ever in distribution. Of course, in satellite stores, but I don't know if they were distributed to boutiques back in the day. But this is my blueberry that is unlit. And one of the questions I would ask Mick for you folks is just a lot of questions about timeline of not only Kringle Candle, but of Yankee Candle, the golden age of Yankee Candle. I would love to finally have some facts of... Again, I wasn't going to do this, but in this box I have a precious Yankee Candle artifact that I've been searching for years. I've been trying to find one. I finally got my hands on it. It was a small run product called Bath Brights. Bath Brights. It was an apothecary jar, a different shape jar, a little bit more whimsical, but the fragrance is Country Heather. I have a very large Country Heather collection, and that's in there. So that took me a long time to find that, and when I did find it, I had to make it mine. It's unlit, and it's going to go into the Yankee Candle or Kittredge archives. So let's get to these questions. You guys have questions. Let's see if I have answers. And Mick says, let's do it, and all this crazy virus stuff blows over. It's a done deal, Mick. Thanks so much again for the offer. And having you in the live stream is quite an honor. And with that said, let's give a thumbs up. If not for me, let's do it for Mick, right? Let's give a thumbs up to this video if you're enjoying this live stream. But let's go to these questions and answer... Let's try to answer some of these. Jenna says, would you be willing to make a video at the location where The Shining was filmed? Also, just throwing this out there, maybe for your trips, you can give us viewers an estimate of your trip costs so that we are aware. It might help with donations and might be a silly plan, but if there's a financial goal that is trackable, viewers might contribute more. Just a thought. It's a very good idea. A lot of propositions and ideas in there. Absolutely. I usually do, Jen, I'm not sure if you've ever seen them, but I do videos called the In-Betweens. There's only 5 of them, but this was back when I was traveling nonstop and things had to slow down for financial reasons. But I usually I film between the segments, like between when I was like at Lizzie Borden, staying the night, or when I was doing a tour, or just a vlog at Kringle Candle, or a vlog at Yankee Candle, or Santa's Village, something like that. In between those videos where I was producing these segments, I would just show like my traveling, vlog style, where I'm eating, the hotels I'm staying at, and the weird and crazy, wacky things that happen when you're on the road by yourself, the things that you find, the people that you meet. So I highly recommend if you go to the main channel and check that out, some of those videos, because I hopefully will be doing more of those. And I think that's kind of what you're saying, to get an idea of cost and what it kind of takes to make these long trips. Would I stay at the location of The Shining? Well, there's several places. Most of it was shot in a studio in London, but a lot of the places, there's a lot of places all over the country that inspired Stephen King, places where they shot. Other places, I think there was yet a second hotel that somehow had inspiration. I don't know. or there's a place that inspired Stephen King, and there was a place where he actually wrote it. So there's a lot of those places. Would I have a problem staying there? I would have no problem staying there. In fact, I would love to do something like that. I really don't mind putting myself into scary, precarious situations. I just don't get spooked easily. But at the same time, I would love to make a video where I actually did get spooked out and capture it on film. I know that sounds like kind of like self-torture, but I think it could be funny. I think it could be informative, just kind of like the Lizzie Borden video, even though that wasn't really that funny. But, you know, I learned a lot from those experiences. So, long question, long answer. Jordan Burke, any plans for the upcoming summer? Can you show us some of your favorite spring-summer accessories? I can't show you the accessories right now because they're all hyper-organized on my shelving unit that I actually have been working on in the past couple days. But I think what I'm going to do this year to change up my Santa's Village video, you know, I go every year, days before Christmas up to New Hampshire in the White Mountains, Jefferson, New Hampshire, and I film, you know, their Christmas celebration, snow coverage. It's just absolutely beautiful. But, you know, I've done this 4 times now. So how else can I mix this up? How can I not just keep repeating myself? So I figured, since it is a spring/summer theme park, that I might just do that. Let's go in the summer. Let's go in the early spring. Let's do it next week. Are you down to go next week? I don't know if I can do it next week. I'm sorry. I hope you didn't take that too seriously. But I really do want to go up, take my equipment. I've really established a great relationship with the family who owns the park. They're on their 4th generation, the Dubois family, but also the president of the park as well. They just really, it's amazing how the first year I went, I just had my cell phone pointing it around. And the last time I went there, I had interviews, I had inside access to see behind the scenes. So make sure you go over to the main channel and check out the Santa's Village videos. They're probably one of my favorite things that I do on the main channel. Madeline Stewart, I have been looking for a candle that smells like my, ooh boy, a nickname for a Greek grandmother. Is it Yaya? Is it Yaya? I'm going to go with Yaya. I'm looking for a candle that smells like my Yaya's or my grandmother's kitchen. It smelled like fresh lemons. I enjoy Yankee Candle's Sicilian lemon, but it's not quite right. Any other suggestions? Yes. Kringle Candle. And do it now so you can get 50% off. They have several great citrus fragrances. So, you know, if you're looking for a little bit citrus and green, they have that. If you're looking for more citrus and floral, they got you covered there. And they have them, if I'm thinking about it, I mean, you're thinking about like a lot of the Christmas scents, you know, that kind of herbaceous, coniferous tree, pine tree, spruce tree with that really strong contrast of citrus. There's a lot of options all year round. So my recommendation is check out the Kringle website first, and because it's relevant to this video, and I probably couldn't come up with a better suggestion. Jordan Parks, can you compare the difference between Yankee's elevation line as compared to jar candles? He's talking about the house warmer jars, or the classic apothecary jars. The Elevation Collection. Which has the higher intensity of scent? Thank you for saying intensity and not throw, Jordan. Can you do evaluations on the elevation line? They have some unique scents, and they seem to pull out quicker. That's interesting. They pull out quicker, because that's usually the biggest complaint people have about the elevation line, is that they don't pull out for, like, in some cases, hours. If you have this problem, you're burning Yankee Candle's elevation line, patience is going to be your virtue. There's more surface area, right? It's a big candle, but there's more surface area because of the shape of the glass, and because of that shape, heat distribution doesn't work as efficiently. But this can all be remedied by keeping it warmer where your candle's burning, or burn the elevation line candle. I shouldn't be using a Kringle product when I'm doing that. Burn your elevation line and burn 2 other candles side by side, whether they're just simple like pillar candles or just 2 other candles. The heat from those extra candles will help fully pull out that candle. They do have amazing scents. They're the softer wax. It's just the plain truth is I wouldn't have a problem with evaluating a bunch of them. It's just that when it comes to Yankee Candle, I'm more of a traditional Yankee Candle guy. I just buy the house warmer apothecary jars, and the majority of my collection are made up of the black bands, vintage Yankee Candle. Well, I shouldn't say the majority, but the majority of the ones that are like, near and dear to my heart are black bands, all vintage. So yeah, to me, with the Yankee Candle, it's about tradition and it's about nostalgia. But I would be happy to talk about the Elevation Collection. I think a great person to seek is Brett, Philly Candleman. Maybe even Doug from Spooky Villages, even though he's, I think, on a hiatus. Reach out to other YouTubers, but I will take that seriously, and the next time I find a good candidate of the Elevation Collection, I will buy it. Michael James Kittredge, where are you going live? Trying to find it. I apologize, Michael. I'm on the second channel, Aromatically Speaking. The future, or the home of all of my future candle content. The Candle Enthusiast, the main channel, is going to be destination travel videos and vlogs exclusively, at least for the time being, unless something changes. What is your airspeed velocity of an... Wait, what? I just want to make sure that I'm not reading anything vulgar. So I think you're talking about a bird here. Swallow, the bird. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? I don't know, Francine. But yeah, I don't even have a comeback for that one. But you gave me a wink. So that means I know that you had the greatest intentions with your joke. Amanda Swanson says, oh, man, and I just got a response. Monty, I'm not a Monty Python fan. I'm sorry. And now that you said it, I recognize the quote, but I am not a Monty Python fan. I've only seen pieces of the Holy Grail. I know. I'm also, are you ready for this? I'm also not, this is Spinal Tap fan either. It's not that I don't like that, it's just not my kind of humor. However, don't judge me on that. Amanda Swanson says, what is the best way to start collecting candles? I had a bunch, but lost them when my mom passed away, and we lost the house. Suggestions, please. Well, I'm very sorry. I just lost a parent myself a year ago. It still feels like yesterday. But the reason I bring this up is that, and I was touched on this before, that candles can really help mend, or at least help during the grieving process. I find I certainly burned a lot of my dad's favorite candles when he passed back last February. And if you've seen my video, if I can recommend this video, hopefully this one will speak to you. I did a Mary Tyler Moore video with a candle. I know it sounds completely strange, but when Mary Tyler Moore passed away, she was just, for many reasons that I won't get into, it was just a very inspiring woman to me. I have my mug was designed from the Mary Tyler Moore Show opening titles, my first mug. And I did an interesting project there where I spent a day with the candle And I actually delivered the candle to Mary's final resting place. And all of the details are in that video and what the objective was. But it was actually what was a very sad event when she passed turned into something that, a memory, a video that I made that I will remember that day more than I will remember when I first heard that she passed. So it was a good time. It was a good video. I want to recommend it for you. But what is the best way to start collecting candles? I had a bunch but lost them. The best way is to here's my suggestion to you. Eliminate the word collecting. Don't collect them. Mick, close your ears. If Mick's listening, he probably doesn't want to hear this. But I will commend Kringle Candle for being very selective with their sales. And I'll tell you why. I don't like sales. Every once in a while, great. Fantastic. But when you see candle companies offering sales every other week, it just reduces the value of the candle in the consumer's mind. And I'm sorry, I can't help it. You know, there's this collector's mentality. Trust me, I have it. If you go into a candle shop, why not? Instead of saying, oh, look at this collection, I need the whole collection. Not only do I need the whole collection, but I need one to collect. But then I also need another whole collection so I can burn them. Come on, some of us do that, right? Some of us do that, admit it. We buy 2 of each so we can keep one to not burn and use another one to burn. And there's nothing wrong with doing that in a moderate fashion. But what I think is lost from these sales are the days when I would go and buy a candle and I could only buy 1 candle. There weren't any sales back then. There were, but I'm talking like I was 17, 18 years old here. And I remember walking in, it was a Yankee Candle. It was mango salsa, I believe. I wanted to get the medium jar. They got me to get the large jar, but I brought that candle home. And I mean, I had been a lifelong Yankee Candle fan, but this was like the first candle that was like, you know, mine. Right? It was really my parents and family who exposed me to Yankee Candle when I was younger. And having that 1 candle, every minute of that candle while it was burning, even when it wasn't burning, I would take it off the shelf and I would smell it and enjoy it. I appreciated that candle so much because, you know, back then it was $26, $27. I didn't have that kind of money back then. And I think, you know, with the perception now when people just get angry about the price raises, you know, you see these, like the candle companies raising their prices. And they get angry about this because they feel like the candle's not worth that much money. Plus, they can't just walk into the store and buy 1 candle or maybe 2 candles. They have to buy everything. And so sales, for me, you know, just produce a little bit of greed in the consumer. So I like sales. Sales are wonderful, but I just don't like seeing them happen all of the time because, like I said, to me, it reduces, I think in the consumer, it reduces the value of the candle. Suddenly, a Bath & Body Works candle is not $24.50. It's $14 or $10. In their mind, it's worth $10, $14, and they think they're getting ripped off if they pay full price. And it's hard not to side with the consumer on this. So, but my point is, buy 1 candle, enjoy it. Don't get immediately into that mode of collecting, because once you get into that mode of collecting, you know, you're going to lose that thrill a little bit. You know, you're going to say like, oh, I got to get this one, or I still got to get this one. Oh, look at all the candles I have. Oh, but I still don't have enough because I don't have this one and I don't have this one. Collecting can just be disastrous for a candle hobbyist, and I'm sure of a lot of other hobbies. And give him a lot of shout outs here, but Mike says couldn't agree more about the comment on sales. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Even though he uses the word throw, we'll talk about that, Mick. We'll talk about that. Last but not least, we have Cynthia Downs. You said you worked in wineries in California. Do you think that the education you got from learning about wines gave you more appreciation for candles? Also, did it help you more? There's a little bit of a typo, I think, or maybe I just can't read. Did it help you become a little bit more knowledgeable about candles as far as finding the base notes, top notes, etc.? And finally, have you thought about making your own line of candles? I mean, with that talented nose of yours, thank you very much. I was wondering, candles. Will I ever make my own candles one day? Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a wonderful thing to think about on the horizon. I don't think that would fulfill my creative needs. I think I would feel more blessed to be able to highlight candle companies and show. I would be more satisfied to get more folks burning candles. You know, the days of candles are for moms. I'm sorry, I grew up, that was the stigma. Candles are for moms. That's a horrible message, right? So I just can't wait, and it's happening, but I can't wait till the day where, you get, like these young folks in college burning candles, dissecting them like that you would a glass of wine, really appreciating the art form of the mixology of the candle. To me, I just think, if I look at my viewers, the statistics of my viewers, sometimes, some months, 80% of my viewers are female, 20 are guys. It's like, come on, guys, like what's bad about aroma? Like, what's bad about memories and nostalgia? Like, come on, join the party. There's nothing to be afraid of here. So that was really always my mission with the Candle Enthusiast, to really highlight the art form and to show that there's no difference between cologne and wine and fine food and fine candles. Or for me, how big of a geek I am when it comes to coffee. It's just another thing to really study and appreciate, and really, the closer you look, the more you admire the people that actually make these candles. But there's more questions here. Yes, I lived in Napa Valley. I studied at the Culinary Institute of America. A lot of you guys heard this before. I studied at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and then also in Napa Valley. Shortly thereafter, I took all of my sommelier exams. I became a certified sommelier in 2012. Sommelier is a fancy French word for wine steward or wine professional. There's a series of steps you have to go in the Guild of Master Sommeliers to get there. If you've seen any of the films on Netflix, Somm 2, Somm 3, SOMM, you can learn more about this process. Just watch the trailer. But to answer your question, absolutely. I spent 2 years just in a school environment, with my nose in a glass of wine, and finding out not only how to dial in what I was smelling, but to break it apart. But the biggest thing is how to communicate it. Because if I told you this candle smells like manure, you're not going to want to buy that candle, or you're not going to want to buy that wine. If I say, ooh, this Right Bank Bordeaux smells like manure, you're not going to want to buy it. But if I say, this smells like freshly overturned potting soil, suddenly that just throws like 1,000 images in your head. And it's the same thing. Soil is soil and fertilizer is fertilizer, but just giving the descriptor context really helps with communication. So yes, I worked for Cakebread Cellars for 4 years, one of the founding wineries in Napa Valley post-Prohibition. And I was an in-house sommelier for them with their culinary department. And they all called me the candle enthusiast. And not necessarily in a fun way. You know, they were kind of making fun of the fact that I enjoyed candles so much. And I just remember saying to one of like the veterans there one day, I'm like, just wait. One day I'm going to start making candles and people are going to call me the candle enthusiast. Well, I never made candles, but I started a YouTube channel and people call me the candle enthusiast. And it's seriously something that I am so happy and honored to get back to. I know I've been gone. I disappear, and you guys are always asking me, when are you going to be producing more videos? When are we going to start seeing more candles? And I just want to thank your patience, your kindness, your loyalty for sticking around, because just like anyone's life, mine has, there's just fluctuations, and I'm finally in a place where I think have my roots settled. I have my strategy planned out. Still looking for funds. Donate below. Plenty of ways. T-shirts, mugs, apparel, merchandise, pledges, donations, rewards, subscription boxes. There's plenty of ways to help fund the Candle Enthusiast. The more money we get, the more we'll be behind the wheel, the more we'll do. And that's why I separated the two channels, because Aromatically Speaking is just going to be us talking about candles here, outside, on location somewhere. But the main channel is going to be all travels, all adventures. I want to thank everyone for joining me today on this live. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful Sunday. It was a gorgeous day. It's getting pretty late in the evening now, but it was cool. It was sunny here in New York. I was out with my dog for an extra long time this morning. It was just, spring is here. And although we have a lot of concerns, around the country, a lot of things up in the air, a lot of questions we have, just remember to stay positive, support positivity, think positive, and live life enthusiastically. That's always my words of wisdom, always my advice. I want to thank all you guys all in the chat area as well. And I will go back later today and read through the chats. And if you have any comments you want to leave, you know what to do. Once again, Spreadshirt.com, t-shirts, apparel, and merchandise. Spreadshirt.com/The Candle Enthusiast. Folks, I will be seeing you soon. But until then, be good, will you? And we'll be talking about these candles more in some edited videos, and also in a trip to KRINGLE Candle. All right, folks, have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.